Today at Manchester Theatres, it is my pleasure to be joined by two music legends, Richard Balcombe and Graham Bickley, who are joint producers for It's a Living Thing, the music of Jeff Lynne's ELO by the Hallé. It's going to be a concert at the Bridgewater Hall on Saturday, the 23rd of May. Richard is a world-renowned orchestrator. He is a conductor and an arranger, and he has worked with some of the world's biggest orchestras, including the English National Opera, Opera North, and just about every BBC orchestra you can think of, including the Concert, the National, and the Philharmonic. Following a 30-year association with the BBC Concert Orchestra, there's no way that you have not heard his music played across TV or radio, whether it's the BBC Proms, concerts with Michael Ball, Gladys Knight, Sir Cliff Richard. He has also arranged entire concert programmes for musical legends such as Ruthie Henshaw and John Owen Jones, has scored music for musicals such as Blitz, and is known as one of the most accomplished arrangers of scores for reduced forces in the operatic world. Meanwhile, we have Graham, who is a seasoned West End performer and a globally sought after concert vocalist. In the West End, he has been in shows such as The Pirates of Penzance, The Pyjama Game, Les Mis, Miss Saigon, Sunset Boulevard, Ragtime. He has globally appeared with so many orchestras across the globe, done staged concerts, including Wonderful Town and Guys and Dolls, and arena staged concerts of Jesus Christ Superstar, Evita, and Stephen Sondheim's 80th birthday celebrations. And of course, not forgetting back in the day, playing Joey Boswell in Carla Lane's
There we go.
So thank you both so much for joining me today. Apologies about my voice. I don't know what's going on there.
It's all right.
We have got this big concert coming up, the music of Jeff Lynne's ELO. So how did this conversation first kind of start out? Were you approached by the Hallé, or is it a project that you two have kind of been wanting to work on together for a while? How did it come together?
Graham?
Well, we've been working together on many a project now for about 14 years, doing various programs. And for those programs, we've discussed them together and come up with an idea. This was the first one that I remember was suggested to us by the Hallé Orchestra a couple of years ago. And would we consider doing a program based around the music of ELO? And we ummed and ahed a bit, and we had to go and do some research and discover whether there was enough music. And of course, there was enough music. And then we discussed it and played it a lot and talked about it and decided, yeah, this could be a great concert. So we put it together, and it's going great guns, and we can't wait to bring it back. It feels a bit like a full circle, bringing it back to Bridgewater Hall and to the Hallé from where it was born.
Yeah, definitely. And the music is just, everybody knows it. Even if they think they don't, they do. There's going to be a song. Like, my introduction was probably the same as a lot of people's, was Mr. Blue Sky. But what's wonderful is even now there's so many children know that song because it's been in the Super Mario movie. So there's kids everywhere singing it. So what was kind of your first memory of it? Maybe Richard, what was your first memory of the music of ELO?
I think Mr. Blue Sky probably. I must confess, through 70s and 80s, I was training classically. So the pop world sort of passed me by. I was aware of ELO, certainly, because it was such a special thing, and it was because it was called the Electric Light Orchestra. So it was. It's really interesting to go back and find out about these things now, having done all the classical stuff. And the standard of this work is just phenomenal in my mind. So Jeff Lynne worked with Louis Clark, who did the Switch Song Classics for the RPO. He did the orchestrations for Jeff Lynne originally. And he always had violins, cellos, guitars, obviously the keyboard, and Richard Tandy with his vocoder thing, which is just so unique, completely unique. So coming to look at it now, to put on a concert with the symphony orchestra, I wouldn't say it was easy to do, but there's such a lot that's there already. So I transcribed all the string writing, for example. And then the other thing was the vocal writing, because he always had certainly the two backing singers, and then he had everybody else in the band sang as well, apart from the drummer, I believe. He might even have sung himself. Anyway, so there was always 7 or 8 voices going on. So we decided we'd have 2 lead vocalists. On this occasion, it's Stuart Matthew Price and John Boyden, and 4 BVs. So there's a girl and 3 boys. So that we've tried to recreate that sort of wall of vocal sound, which is so different to, I don't think anybody else. I mean, the Beach Boys, similar, but nobody did that sort of thing live very much. So it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating, wonderful music. I love it. It
really, really is. And so, are you not singing in this one then, Graham?
Yes, I'm a BV in this one. I'm
okay.
certainly there. And I love singing harmony. I love being, in a group singing. So it's a sort of different aspect for me, but just as enjoyable. And
you have your solo as well, Graham?
Oh, I do have a solo. I do have a solo as well. But I think one of the things we've always looked for in the programs that we've done is a basis of an orchestration, whether it's Elton John, whether it's the Bee Gees. There's always something there to embellish, and we really like to present our programs not to reinvent them in any way. We want our audiences to recognize instantly the music that we're portraying. But what Richard has done by embellishing what Jeff Lynne had produced to a full-size orchestra is really exciting. Because it's exactly what you expect to hear. But can you imagine 65 players playing in the room? It's just electrifying and very exciting to be a part of.
I can already kind of picture, like Living Thing or Hold On Tight, just like absolutely bouncing the Bridgewater Hall. It's going to be very exciting.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I mean, this music was so groundbreaking at the time. I mean, you touched on that a bit there, Richard.
Yeah.
It was, you'd had potentially orchestral instruments in songs, but they were kind of a special feature in other people's songs. But to actually form the band, mixed in with the classical influences and everything, it was unheard of, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to have live strings on stage, and I remember when they did Glastonbury, they had about 12 strings, so that was a much bigger event. But they always, as I said, they always had 2 violins and a cello, so there was always strings in every single piece. And Louis Clark's writing was of its time. I mean, it sounds so 80s. It's brilliant. And as Graham said, actually, the interesting thing is not only do the audience love this they love most of our concerts, fortunately, but not only do the audience love this concert, the orchestras love it as well, because there's so much for them to play. And there's a passage at the end of, I think it's Wild West Hero, where the violins are going absolutely mad up and down the scales. And you see their faces when they see it for the first time, and then they play it and think, oh, yeah, we can do this, it's great. All those hours practicing scales paid off in the end.
Yeah.
I think that's what's brilliant about watching the Hallé, though, especially when they do these additional concerts, with more popular music. It's just the sheer joy and love, and you feel that within the room as well. I've seen a few different ones, but you do literally feel it. They must be an absolute joy to it. I know you've both worked with them before.
Indeed, we've been there a lot, and there's always that moment during a rehearsal when we're taking a new program, as we will on the 23rd, when I just turn around and take a sneaky look and see how many smiling faces and how many feet are tapping, and there's always it's an affirmation of what we're trying to do. When the orchestra are enjoying it, then obviously it goes off the platform and into the audience, and they really help an evening to go well. We do our bit, and if they're enjoying themselves, it just bounces out, and the audience pick that up. So it's a great help to us.
Yeah.
It's also, quite honestly, I have to say it's an honour to go to these orchestras, and the Hallé is one of the oldest orchestras in the country, and I've been doing it for 30 years, and there's no time I stand up on the podium and don't think I'm really privileged to do this. I'm privileged to work with these world-class players to create something for a new audience, and it's an honour. It really is an honour.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It is sometimes it is a new audience doing these. These concerts of popular music, they really do bring people into what might be their first experience of live music in an orchestra.
Yeah. We've had that often, actually. Often people have come up to us after one of our programs, Bacharach or Streisand or something, and said, that's the first orchestral concert I've ever been to. I'm coming back for more. Yeah. So if we are bringing in a new audience, that's even more beneficial, because we need to do that all the time.
Definitely.
And I remember so clearly as a schoolboy going to the Liverpool Philharmonic and seeing that orchestra for the first time, and it stayed with me all my life. And so when you can make that sort of impression, or when you hope you can make that sort of impression on one person in the hall, as Richard says, somebody who's not been before, it's a responsibility, but it's an exciting responsibility, and we hope to continue with it.
Yeah, definitely. And with this music then, so like you said, it's not simple, straightforward pop tunes. It's complex, it's influence. You can literally hear, you know, if you know your classical, you can hear the influences within it. So were there any songs that kind of have kept you awake at night trying to arrange them, or maybe from the orchestral viewpoint or from the singing viewpoint? Like you say, there's sometimes more singers than you've potentially got on stage. So if there are any that have surprised you, maybe that have been a bit trickier?
The hardest one was they had a studio album called El Dorado, and I don't think they ever performed. We are doing the overture and then Can't Get Out of My Head, which is one of their successful songs, and then there's a little finale coda from the album. So there was no source material from that apart from the album. So I transcribed that, which means I listen to it over and over again, pick out the bass line, pick out what the drums are doing, pick out the instrumental things. And that was obviously recorded with quite a few players because it's big orchestral stuff. And it's really different as well. The opening of the overture is just a completely different sound world. And I guess they probably couldn't have created that live, as they wouldn't have had the number of players. But it's absolutely brilliant. The first sort of 64 bars are like, as I say, from a different world. It's incredible. I won't say it kept me awake at night, but once I got hold of it, it was so exciting to be able to put it on paper. And then the first time we did it, to hear it played, and think, yeah, that's all right, actually, that's good.
And it's certainly lyrics and harmony lines that keep me awake at night. It's become a bit of an earworm when you're learning a new show. But I'm just going to say, to add on to what Richard was saying, one of the sort of mantras that we sort of like to work by is, whenever we do a concert, whatever the program is, whatever the flavor is, the orchestra has to be the star. We don't do anything, we'll just add a bit at the back and they can string along, and just because they're there. That's not what we've ever done, and it's always as important to us that the orchestra are extremely busy and featured, and they have lots of moments. They're not just there to back 4 or 6 singers at all, because what is the point of doing that when you have the absolute privilege of standing in front of these world-class orchestras? If those people that do that and you say, we'll just give them something to scrape along and it'll be fine, we don't do that. They are the stars, and they're always featured in every show. Yeah, brilliant. And it would be, like you say, it would be a disservice to them, but to the audience, but to the singers as well, because it's not often these days, for musicals or anything like that. It's such reduced orchestras that you don't get the full one. So to be able to play with that big sound, love it.
So with this band, then they've got quite the colourful history. Started out, had great success. They've then all kind of, at some point, maybe tried to go off and recreate it on their own in a different way. It's never quite worked. We've got the reunion in 2024. Is there any significance then in this being billed as Jeff Lynne's ELO as opposed to just ELO with the music?
Well, it's entitled Jeff Lynne's ELO because Jeff Lynne asked it to be titled Jeff Lynne's ELO. We had to clear it with his office, obviously, and it was great to have his stamp of approval. And so there are obviously small rules and regs that we have to live by, and we are very happy to title it whatever he wants to title it. But that came from his office.
And I think the point is that without him, there wouldn't be any music.
No,
he wrote it all. So without him, there wouldn't be an ELO. And I think the stuff he did with Travelling Wilburys as well is absolutely fascinating because, again, it's a different style. But I think genius is probably an overused word, but I think in this case it's the correct word, because he created these wonderful pieces of what I would call proper music. They're not just pop songs; they're properly and they followed on very much from what the Beatles did. So Lennon and McCartney into Jeff Lynne is a very visible, audible path, if you like. And yeah, he should be credited, and more than happy to do so.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thank you. I was just curious. So that's answered. So Hallé, then let's go back to the Hallé. We've said you've both worked with them previously, quite a few occasions. What are your standout memories? And I know I've probably just asked you a Sophie's Choice question, but are there any that kind of stand out for you?
Well, for me, I think the last time we were there, was it the last time we were there, Richard, when we did launch the Bee Gees?
Yeah.
That was the last time we were there, and we did a similar show, and it was the music of the Bee Gees. And until you've done it in front of an orchestra and an audience, you don't really know how, is it really going to go as well as you would hope? And before we got to the interval, we had the whole hall up dancing, and all the staff in the hall had to come in and politely ask everybody to sit down, which of course nobody did. And so we've never quite had that. That got quite hysterical. And that wasn't even that was up to the interval, and then it carried on afterwards as well. So to see a hall just enjoying it and reliving that, so many memories that I'm sure will happen with ELO. You often start a song and it'll be one of the big ones like Blue Sky or one of those, and you just see people and couples nudge each other and say, "Oh, it's our song, it's us. Here it is. I'm so pleased they're doing this one." It's a joy and a responsibility, and I just hope we have that sort of evening again. I'm sure we will at the Hallé.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Absolutely sure. I even it was a great Christmas present for my goddaughter is obsessed with ELO. So it was a great Christmas present. So thank you.
We aim to please.
And the amount of work, finally, that must go into, I think, sometimes people can be forgiven maybe for going, they watch the concert and they have a brilliant time and they think it kind of just happens. But you are, like you said, some music hasn't even got, the written music. You're having to transcribe it, and then you're having to do all the arrangements, the vocal arrangements, learn all. There's so much goes into it. How long does it take to put something like this together?
I suppose we normally start talking about a project which will come to maturity after a year or 18 months, because the way the orchestras work, they book quite a long way ahead. But in terms of the practical work, it's about 6 weeks solid for me to make a program which is normally about 30 songs. So I'm quite quick. I've been doing it a long time.
That sounds quick.
But even so, and then there's the practical thing of actually printing the music and binding it and then sending that off to the orchestra. But just very briefly, we've been working together for about 30 years now, and we used to do concerts for other management. So we'd be sent out to somewhere, I think might even gone to the Hallé at some point, sent out by the management to do the program, and we'd turn up and the music would be not very well presented. The orchestra had difficulty reading it. It wasn't the right edition. It was the wrong key. So Graham came to me and said, "Look, we've done this for the other people. Why don't we just start our own company to do it ourselves? Because then we're responsible for what is put on the stand. I'm responsible for what is put on the stands. And obviously, if it's wrong, I take the blame. Fortunately, it's not often wrong, but it's an absolute pleasure to be able to put this thing together. And every time we've done a new program, there's always at the back of my head, is it going to work? I've got a computer. I work on a computer, so I can play it back. So it sounds, I know what it's going to be like. But the first time we play any of our programs and the orchestra strikes up, I know within 30 seconds whether it's going to be good or not. And it's always so exciting. And the loveliest thing for me is, particularly on this program actually, and our Streisand program, singers have said to me, it's just so exciting being in front of the orchestra, hearing this massive body of sound and detail that's in there. So yeah, it is hard work, but it's a great pleasure. And to have this music, my music, played by the best players in the world is an honor.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and honestly, I think it's a phenomenal thing because it is introducing, like we've said, so many people to live music. And I'm very, very excited for it. So thank you both. Thank you both so much for chatting with me today. It's been really, really interesting. And as we've said, you can catch it, the Hallé playing The Living Thing, the music of Jeff Lynne's ELO at the Bridgewater Hall on Saturday, the 23rd of May. One night only, so grab your tickets while it's in Manchester. Richard, Graham, thank you so much. And we look forward to welcoming you in Manchester very, very soon.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Take care.